I'm Gordon Vanderpool from Franklin, North Carolina with Turning Stones Fly Fishing, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to choose the proper rod for fly fishing. What you're going to need is access to an experienced guide. Well, a lot of people, they get really intimidated when we start talking fly fishing. They're like, it's really expensive. And I'm like, it can be expensive, but you don't have to spend no more than $100, $150, and you can get a full setup. And a good setup in the mountains for trout is a 9-foot 5-weight. So it's 9 foot long, and the 5-weight kind of tells you generally how strong the rod is. And we have 5-weight, 4-weight, 3-weight, all the way up to 10, 11, 12-weight for ocean, saltwater techniques. So that's a good starter package for somebody that wants to learn to catch trout, bluegill, bass. That'll get them started, and they'll be able to use that for a lot of different fly fishing. If you're wanting to go to like a price point range, you got Temple Fork Outfitters, really good rods. They go anywhere from 80 bucks up to about 300 bucks. That's a good beginner rod. You know, you can get a rod for 80, 90 bucks, throw a reel on it, you're out the door 150, 160 bucks. And it'll get the job done for you. Now me, I like to use Sage rods. I love Sage. Those rods anywhere from 200 bucks up to $700, $800. With my clients, I tend to use the high-end rods because that's what I like to play with when I'm out fishing. So, and they're usually about $690, $700 bucks. G. Loomis is a good fly rod. Cortland, White River, those are two other good price point beginner packages, you know, that would work out good. R.L. Winston, Thomas & Thomas. That's just to name a few. I could go on. If you're nymphing, you know, you want a rod that's generally pretty fast in the tip, meaning it's a tip flex. So when you set the hook, you don't have a lot of flex in the rod to get it into the trout's lip quick. And if you're doing a lot of casting for distance, you want a fast action rod, something that's going to cut through the wind, like saltwater techniques. You want a fast action or an ultra fast action rod because you got a lot of wind in the salt. Now here in the mountains, obviously we got mountains cutting the wind, so the wind's not a real problem. I tell them once they get more proficient with their casting and they're throwing longer casts and they're starting to expect more out of their equipment, that's a good time to step up. You don't want to spend $500 on a rod when you don't know if you're going to even like the sport of fly fishing. So spend 80 bucks, get your feet wet, and once you get better, then branch up to $300 or whatever you want. That's kind of how I would recommend somebody do it. Don't just jump in and get a $600 stick. It's not necessary. Those are some really basic tips and pointers to how to choose a rod for the proper type of fly fishing.